Texas is going to be unranked when I release my next top 25 because Texas isn't a very good football team. It's very easy to look at Arch Manning and say that he's the problem. He's a problem, no doubt about it. He is not the problem with the Texas Longhorns. So he was 16 of 29 with 2 interceptions in this game, and Florida just outplayed Texas from the jump. The Longhorns were off a bye. Now, I thought this would be a low-scoring slugfest because Florida's offense don't like that. Texas's defense really like that. And my one big key for the Gators in this game was, can you get Jaden Baugh going? Can you run the football? Because if you do, that's your path to an upset. And what do you know? Jaden Baugh has over 100 yards on the ground, and DJ Lagway looks a little bit more like DJ Lagway. 21 to 28, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Florida made a mistake in this spot. Florida is making the same mistake that they made last year. They're winning football games with Billy Napier as their head coach. Because Florida's schedule going forward, certainly there's nothing easy about it necessarily. They have Texas A&M, who I think is really good, by the way. They have them this weekend, and Mississippi State, and Georgia, and they have to play Ole Miss, and Tennessee, and Florida State. So they still have the opportunity to go out there and lose games. But what this win has the opportunity to do for Florida fans, or maybe more accurately, the Florida administration, is delude themselves into thinking that Billy Napier could finally be getting it right. We have seen this story play out over and over and over again. Remember that scene in Arrested Development where Tobias Funke is asked, well, did it work for those people? No. These people always delude themselves into thinking that it will, but it never does. But it might work for us. This is how I'm feeling with Florida. They go out and win this football game. Please don't let yourself think that Florida's turned a quarter, that they figured it out, that they're a good team. Texas is just straight up not very good. And Arch Manning is at the center of those particular issues. Manning's inability to consistently make throws is astonishing for a guy who's waited his turn and is in the same offensive system. He's got the same voices around him. He should be so prepared, and this falls on Steve Sarkisian. And for those that were calling for Arch Manning a year ago and Quinn Ewers struggled, boy, you'd be a much better football team if Quinn Ewers was still your quarterback. But hey, at least you finally played Arch. At least it finally happened. But here we are at about the midway point of the regular season, and those issues we saw Texas have against Ohio State in week 1 are still there. There's nothing about Arch Manning that looks settled, consistent, repeatable, good, high level. There's a flash or a glimpse here and there, and you think, oh, maybe he's settling it. No, he isn't. He isn't. He's not the answer. He might not be the only problem. He certainly wasn't on Saturday in Gainesville, because why in the world? What a poor showing from the Texas defense. Why in the world was Florida able to go up and down the field? You saw what a real defense, LSU, the type I thought that Texas had going into the game. It's why I predicted it to be so low scoring. Why was Florida able to walk up and down the field? The Gators this year have been a horrifically bad offense. They have scored, wait for it, 16, 10, and 7 coming into this game. And then all of a sudden your defense off a bye gives up 29. All of a sudden the Gators can run the ball. I knew that was the key for Florida. Didn't think it was going to happen. It's why I picked Texas to win the game. I thought Florida would keep it close. But neither of these teams are actually good. Every year we come into the season wondering, who are the top 10 teams preseason going to be that finish the year unranked? Texas is going to be one of them. By the way, I was checking out FanDuel earlier. I'm not kidding when I say this. FanDuel has got Texas as a 3.5-point favorite against Oklahoma. My record against the spread this year is putrid. You could call it the Texas offense of best bets this season. And I just tell you to go put your mortgage on Oklahoma getting points, even if John Mateer doesn't play. Texas might play that game with the second best quarterback on the field. I mean, it's so bad. The experiment just needs to be over, and Texas needs to figure out, okay, all right, what's our plan going forward? What else do we have? What are the other options? It's gone on long enough. It's one thing if you have a true freshman at this point. You know, Bryce Underwood or Dylan Raiola last year, or other young guys that have started over the years. If it's their first season and it looks like this, you don't give up. You don't say, all right, we're done. Arch Manning is the same age. He was in the same recruiting class as Dante Moore, who is the current betting favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. Texas and Oregon, can we say those are comparable programs from a support and infrastructure standpoint? Can we say that at both of those programs, they have a history of bringing in weapons and having a coaching staff that is successful at the quarterback position? Yes, we can, because we've watched it play out over the last several seasons. Some guys just don't have it. And Arch Manning doesn't have it. If he were a true freshman or even a redshirt freshman, I might be able to forgive what we've seen so far. But when he's in his third year of college football and it looks like this, at the midway point in the year, we're done. We're done. This is not something, this is just who he is. If you're okay with that going forward, boy, you have lowered your standards as a Texas fan. I doubt they have. I don't think they should, because there have to be better options at quarterback. There just has to be. How much worse could it look? If you had a backup quarterback, if it wasn't Arch Manning playing quarterback for the Longhorns over the last couple of weeks, how would you be feeling right now? Yeah, now we know this guy isn't the answer going forward. It should not look this difficult. The game looks easier for guys that are younger and less experienced than Arch Manning. I'm watching Bryce Underwood each week desperately try to find a wide receiver that can consistently catch the ball. And I see Bryce Underwood having some growing pains and not always making the best throws or right reads, but he's a true freshman. Arch Manning is having these problems the midway point of his third year of college football. Meanwhile, Nico just popped at UCLA with a first-time play caller. And by the way, had his team at least in the playoff last year. Still had room to grow with Josh Heupel. But I feel better about Nico right now than I do Arch Manning. Maybe explore that transfer option in the offseason, Texas. Just food for thought. But my takeaway watching Texas, Florida, neither of these teams are good. Neither of them are any good. And I was bullish on the Florida is overrated train coming into the year, but I like Texas coming into the season. Because I thought, yeah, Arch Manning's been sitting and waiting, and we know Sark is good with offense and quarterbacks, and Arch doesn't have it. And some guys just don't have it. There's no perfect player rating or evaluation system in the world. They don't have it in the NFL. They don't have it in college football. They don't have it in college basketball. They don't have it in Major League Baseball. I mean, keep going down the list. Nothing's perfect. And guess what? Arch Manning doesn't have it between the ears. The game does not look like it is slowing down whatsoever. And at this point in his career, if it hasn't at this point, I don't know how you're going to suddenly fix that going forward. It would require quite the turnaround from Steve Sarkisian. But maybe he was playing Quinn Ewers last year for a reason. And that's that he saw, yeah, Arch isn't ready. Arch is not that guy. And a coaching staff, sometimes you can only do so much. I've seen Sark have success. I have not seen Arch Manning have success before. I think it's more on Arch. Did the rest of the team for Texas play well? Nope. They don't look like a good football team. But the goals you had coming into the season, they are done. And you should not have Arch Manning as your starting quarterback in 2026. Do whatever you want the rest of the year, frankly. I don't care a whole heck of a lot, but they need to go in a different direction.